Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to St Pancras International Station. Guys, today I'm going to be travelling across to Brussels with the Eurostar. It's going to be the very first time in their standard class, so let's head on and see how it compares to taking the plane. The day kicked off travelling on the fantastic brand new Elizabeth line. Arriving into King's Cross, St Pancras, it was a real hive of activity. The station looks absolutely fantastic. If you find yourself arriving into the station a little bit early, there's plenty of spaces that you can escape the hustle and bustle. This mezzanine area shown just here features some champagne bars and some nice relaxing cafes, so plenty of places to hang out before the check-in. Having never travelled on the Eurostar before, my expectations arriving into St Pancras that night were very high. In terms of the initial impressions, well, check-in was a real mess. It took around an hour or so to get through and it was absolutely chaotic. One benefit is that you do get to clear European immigration before going any further, so you don't need to worry about that on the other side. That said, the holding area was incredibly overcrowded and not a good experience at all. Mercifully, not before too long, it was then time to board. The boarding process was managed really quite well. The first class cabins were both in the rear and the front three carriages of the train. It was the standard class on that particular occasion. It was just a quick walk up into carriage number 8 where we were seated on that particular evening. The seats, as part of the entry-level product, are laid out in a 2-2 configuration with an awful lot back-facing towards each other with a table in between. It was certainly showing its age a little bit, but it was definitely pretty clean and fairly nicely laid out. There was quite a lot of storage space also for luggage, as you'd expect as part of the cabin, and plenty above the seats themselves. As part of the 8th carriage where we were sat on that particular evening, there was then also a cafe. We're going to get into this in a little bit more detail, but it was certainly incredibly convenient having this very close indeed. In terms of the pricing, well, this was actually fairly attractive in the cafe itself, but as mentioned, we'll pop into here and grab something for dinner a little bit later into the journey. Returning back to the seats, there was plenty of space in the seat itself, but the condition of the windows was absolutely disgraceful. I couldn't quite believe they'd let it get quite this bad. So that's underway here, so cheers, here's to a great train journey. With the journey well underway, let's take ourselves down to that cafe on board and grab something for dinner. As mentioned, the pricing was really pretty attractive across the board. I opted for a cottage pie on that particular evening, and sadly it tasted every bit as bad as it looked. It really was a complete dog's dinner. For catering on board, I'd certainly recommend popping into Marks & Spencer or somewhere similar and pick up something like this just before you travel. Overall, a pretty bad first experience on the Eurostar. If you're thinking of travelling over to Europe, check out my video of British Airways located in the bottom left just now.